square foot, by the bag, by the truckload? What do we buy by the case? How do we buy it? Typically by the square footage, and then you divide it by however many square footage is in the bag, and then you buy however many bags you need. So,
Would there be a way to have the spray foam installation as well?
square footage.
Yeah,
Square footage. So typically, that's a great question by Carrington. If I'm doing spray and wall insulation, I'm going to give my spray foam contractor a square footage of how much I need, and he does his calculation for how much spray foam he uses. And I don't know how to do spray foam calculation, because that's specialized to that. And to be honest with you, there's no reason for you to know either, because we give them the square footage, they come back with a price. The only reason that we would ever need to actually know how much chemical to buy for the spray was if we had a spray rig ourselves. And that's an expensive, specialized thing. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna figure that out on your own. And if you're not gonna have your own specialized rig, then you don't need to know. So, review. Floor joist. Length
Divided by spacing plus 1.
divided by spacing plus 1. The rim is going to be just the length of the two sides. Either if you're going to use perimeter all the way around for rim, or if you're going to use floor joist at the ends, and then rim on the two ends would be the two ends length. So in this case here, our floor joist would run 30-foot ways. It always runs the short way. And then our rim joist would be 40, which would be 80. Floor, square footage, length times width, divided by 32. Exterior wall studs. What's the calculation? What?
Length of wall.
Length of wall.
Divided by spacing.
1 stud per foot. Right? That's how we're figuring. 1 stud per foot.
So it's length of wall times.
1. Length of wall. So if there's 140 foot wall, there's 140 studs. That's if it's 16-inch center. Okay? And the reason why we do that is because we got extra studs around doors and windows and cripples and boards around the windows, window sills, and all kinds of other stuff, and bracing. You got to have more than what the spacing is. Exterior wall sheeting is length of wall times height. Interior wall, drywall for the exterior walls is the same square footage as the interior walls, but instead of dividing by 32, we divide by 48. Because drywall, we typically use 4x12s instead of 4x8s. Okay? Interior walls is length wall. For studs, is length of wall. Every foot equals a stud. And then also interior walls is length of wall times height, but this time we times it by 2 because we have drywall on the ends, on both sides of interior walls. Exterior walls is only length of times 1, length of wall times height divided by 48. Interior walls is length of wall times height times 2 because it's on both sides of the wall.
What's the
Length of wall times height
times height?
divided by 32. No, for drywall it's 48. For interior walls, it's length of wall times height times 2 divided by 48. Ceiling drywall, why do we do ceiling drywall differently than wall drywall? Because typically it's a different thickness, 5/8 on the ceiling, 1/2 inch on the walls. So we always figure ceiling differently. Ceiling is square footage, same as the floor, divided by 48. And times width. Insulation is length of wall times height of the wall is your square footage. The only thing we didn't figure there was, what did I skip?
Insulation.
We just did insulation. Plates, length of wall times 3, okay? And you can do all of the walls, length of wall times 3, interior and exterior, or you can separate exterior and interior. But it's length of wall times 3.
Wait, which formula is that for?
That's for plates, bottom plate, top plate.
Oh, right,
And that gets us from the foundation. Oh, sill plate is just the perimeter, right? And remember, depending on what we, what length is most efficient is what we divide these by. So if I say how many 16-foot plates is there, you would take length wall times 3 divided by 3. But if it was a 12-foot wall, maybe it would be divided by 12 instead of 16 because 16 would be a waste. Same goes for everything else. You're always going to adjust the length. So if we're looking at sill plates around the outside, it will be perimeter divided by if you're going to use 16-foot boards or 12-foot boards or 14-foot boards or 10-foot boards, depending on what's the most efficient use of your boards. Maybe it's a 60, like for 30 feet, what if you do a 16 and a 14? That equals 30, right? You don't have any waste. Or if 10-foot boards are cheaper, 3/10. But that's kind of all dependent on you calling around trying to figure out what the cheapest board is. You call around trying to, or you, if you're not worried about cheapest board, you're worried about efficiency. So 16-footers is the less boards you got to put down. And maybe if it's a small job and you're putting them in the back of your pickup, you don't want to use 16-foot boards because they hang out too far and you want to use 12s. It could be whatever reason you pick them. There's a plan over there. It's called 209. It's a house plan. Grab it out. I want you to figure plates, studs, drywall, and exterior sheeting. Oh, header material. Alright, that's just the length of the window plus 6 inches. Length of the doors plus 6 inches, and then you gotta figure out what the header material is using. Plates, studs, drywall. I think that's all you're gonna need time to do today.
that the window plus 6 inches.
Huh?
That window plus 6 inches.
Window plus 6 inches is your header. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. It's important. Get in your head. There's no class tomorrow. Because the Ag FFA is doing a big FFA thing tomorrow, and they're gonna be all over this building. They're gonna use every one of the rooms, so we got kicked out. Okay? So, no class tomorrow. I'm still working on whether you're gonna have class on Wednesday or not. What?
So is there anything I need to get caught up before I'm gone?
No.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need to know.
Wait, so we might not have class this Wednesday now?
Might not.
Oh, Lord.
Caleb's going home, man.
Give me a minute. I gotta go upstairs and talk to this lady. But I had set up for forklift training on Wednesday, and I'm in ocean training tomorrow through Friday for training, so that I can teach the ocean course. It's the only time I could take it. So I had set up for forklift training on Wednesday. The guy says we don't have enough time to do it, or he doesn't have enough time to do it. So now I'm talking to the CPR first aid, and see if we can't get them to come in at 8 o'clock and do some CPR first aid on Wednesday. Now, good certificates to have on your, thing, but I will tell you, May 8th is now when we're having forklift training. So you can write that down, forklift training, 8 o'clock on May 8th. And the reason why we want that is so that you can say you're a certified forklift driver and put that on your resume. That's why we're doing it. CPR, first aid on your resume. And then we're gonna try to do, and I found out today, after I get done with this 510 class, I think I can certify you on man lift and scissor lift. So then we're gonna do man lift, scissor lift before the end of the year too. Because the more certifications we can get you,
Resume handy.
the better. What?
Resume handy.
Far as the Dollar General.
Resume handy. Make your resume
Oh, this is the
sweet.
easiest.
No,
That's
resume.
not the line.
Sorry, I'm.
You had candy in your mouth. I was thinking, do I want candy? I was like, yeah, I was trying to figure out what candy.
It's Airhead bike.
So
You want airheads?
Bart, did you say 2 o'clock or 2
Oh, nice.